What would the 60s and 70s have been without the Jackson 5? The band, consisting of 5 brothers, celebrated great successes. As a member of the group, the future superstar Michael Jackson found his way into show business. No question, he was the most famous member of the Jackson 5, but his other siblings also had important careers. It all began in 1965 when family man Joe Jackson formed a family band with his young sons. Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and Michael had quite a few gigs before they finally had their first #1 hit with I Want You Back in 1969. Singles like ABC, The Love You Save, and I'll Be There followed. In the early 70s, Michael Jackson and his brother Jermaine started their own solo careers. It was Jermaine who was the first member to leave the band when the Jackson 5 looked for a new record label in 1975 and renamed themselves the Jacksons. He later returned. During the mid-80s, Michael left the band and then Marlon. Eventually, the remaining brothers also ended their time in the band, although there were later sporadic comebacks. Everyone knows how Michael fared after his time with the Jackson 5. The musician became world famous as the King of Pop, celebrating immense successes with songs like Thriller, and died unexpectedly in 2009 at the age of only 50 years. Jermaine Jackson played bass guitar in the band. Even during his time with the Jackson 5, he was able to make a name for himself as a solo artist with Daddy's Home. In the 70s and 80s followed some hits. From the 2000s, he was increasingly seen on TV. In 2007, he was a contestant on the British show Celebrity Big Brother, and in 2014, he was on the American show Wife Swap. Jermaine was married 3 times and has a total of 7 children. Guitarist Tito formed his own family band, 3T, with his sons in the 90s. In the 2000s, he also performed solo. In 2007, he was a judge on the talent show Just the Two of Us. Today, Tito is divorced and has 3 children from his marriage to Dolores Martes. Marlon had a short solo career after his time in the band, but then turned to another profession and worked as a real estate agent. He has been married to his wife Carol since 1975 and has 3 children. Randy Jackson was the youngest member of the troupe. He joined the band later, and after Jackson 5, he formed another one called Randy and the Gypsies. He later went into the tech industry before starting a collaboration with his sister Janet at her record label. He has 3 children from 2 relationships, and in the 90s made headlines of arrests for assaults. Jackie Jackson has kept to himself outside of the family band. He runs 2 record labels. Today he is in his 3rd marriage and has 4 children.
Michael Jackson was the king of pop. His songs have had a lasting impact on the musical landscape, and he is one of the most successful entertainers of all time. Before he started his solo career, he performed with his brothers Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, and Marlon in the Jackson 5, a band created by his father. In 1971, at the age of 13, Michael started his own solo career. His first single, Got to Be There, reached #4 on the charts in the US. At the end of the 1970s, Michael Jackson really took off as a solo artist and put out one hit after another. His success and fame lasted for a long time. The pop icon was also very popular with other artists, and his fans absolutely worshipped him. In 2009, Michael announced in a press conference that he would be ending his stage career. His This Is It concert tour was supposed to be staged as his ultimate farewell. The singer would perform 50 shows from July 2009 to March 2010, but not a single one ever took place. Michael Jackson died on June 25, 2009 at the age of 50 in Los Angeles. Nobody could believe that the King of Pop was suddenly deceased. Since then, numerous conspiracy theories have come up surrounding his death. In addition to the bizarre assumption that he is still alive, many fans suspect that Michael Jackson was murdered by his personal doctor, Conrad Murray. Statements made by his daughter, Paris Jackson, fueled these assumptions. In an interview with Rolling Stone magazine, she said, "He dropped hints about people who were after him. And he once said something like, 'One day they're going to kill me.'" Paris Jackson. Michael Jackson's cause of death, according to the coroner's report, was an overdose of the strong anesthetic propofol. This news emerged from court documents that were published 2 months later by the Los Angeles Times and CNN. In fact, Jackson's personal doctor, Conrad Murray, had administered the anesthetic to the singer for many weeks. The reason for this was Jackson's acute insomnia. According to documents, Murray reduced the dosage shortly before Jackson's death, but gave him other sleeping pills as well. Then, in the early afternoon of June 25th, the King of Pop suffered cardiac arrest in his Los Angeles home. Murray said he was not in Jackson's room at the time, and later attempts at resuscitation failed. Conrad Murray was found guilty of negligent homicide on November 7th, 2011, and sentenced to 4 years in prison.